All right. Well, welcome back to the Triple Doink podcast at long last again. The last
Even.
time, what was that?
What was what?
I okay, never mind. I
I
I
threw you
wonder if
off. My
that's
bad.
it's okay. We're just gonna move forward because we're pros. Um,
Of course.
the last time that we did this was a month ago, and the previous time was a month prior to that. Um, so yeah, we've been kind of you know spacey here, but of course we're back, and I'm joined by the Paolo boy to my Giovanni Leonardo. That is a deep pull. You're never gonna figure out what that is. My friend Bryce. How are you, Bryce?
Giovanni. That is that an Italian like Renaissance art reference?
No,
It is
it's
not.
not. It's not art.
It's not art.
No.
Paint.
Uh, Boy and Leonardo were they were chess players from Italy in the 1400s, and
Then yep, yeah. I
they
would know
like
actually.
they traveled together at one point to Spain to play the top Spanish player whose name you should know.
Uh
He's pretty famous. He's got an opening named after him.
English.
Yeah. Uh no, Roy Lopez. Um
No.
so they traveled to Spain to play Lopez, and then they both defeated him, and then they like traveled separately and defeated all the strongest players in the world, and then both of them were poisoned at different times and died.
Unlucky.
Yeah, pretty much. uh
Unlucky.
they got poisoned by jealous rivals. But anyway, um so yeah, that's my thing for today. Sorry, it
Yeah,
was
that's
an obscure one.
no, that's fine. Come on, man. It's what you're into. Don't ever apologize to something like that. That's cool.
Yeah, okay. um so yeah, um I don't have anything to talk about off the top, so whatever you want to say, go for it.
But don't have anything really to say. I think we can just get into the news. I believe.
Yeah, we should probably do it because the of course the elephant in the room is that this past weekend some enormous news dropped. Um,
Uh,
and I was actually in Indianapolis when I heard about this. Um, I was there playing a chess tournament, and
oh, for sure.
yeah, and this massive news drop that apparently they've announced that they're making a Breaking Bad movie.
Oh yeah, I'm
Yeah,
actually like really excited for the Jesse Pinkman. Like
yeah,
yeah, and
uh
also
huh.
Andrew Luck retired, but
Right. In
yeah,
other news, Andrew Luck.
yeah.
Um,
I
so
it was pretty obvious you're going for a little switcheroo there, but yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll
yeah,
run with that.
yeah. I did kind of telegraph that one. I
Oh
should
yeah,
have. Nah,
yeah.
whatever.
You let it up too much, but that's all right. That's all right. I forgive you.
But yeah, Andrew Luck. I mean, this was a shock. I mean, to me at
Yeah.
least, I was pretty shocked.
Everyone was like, "Wait, wait," but it makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense. I don't fault the guy for retiring. I fault the guy mostly for retiring a week before the season starts. Uh,
Well, yeah,
that's a
I
little
understand
like
that.
like you could. I get that it's his own decision, but this is kind of like this is just a douchey time to do it. But I
Well,
do not fault him at all, and I think it's actually really commendable. And you're going to see a lot more of this as
it's actually kind of And actually, Aaron Rodgers pointed this out. He talked to the media, and I hadn't thought of this until I read his comments. But Luck could have spent this season on IR and still collected his paychecks, but he chose instead to retire, and he's not going to see that money.
Yeah, no, he left.
So that's
Yeah.
in that sense, it's actually kind of a selfless thing.
No, it's selfless in the fact he just wants out of the sport. He doesn't want even to be half in. He just is full stop because he knows. I
Right.
think he knows that if he's even a little bit in, he'll just be thinking in his head like, "Oh, maybe I can just go back one more season. One more season. Maybe if it happens again, I'll stop this time." And it'll just be this like back and forth tug of war. But if he full stops it, then he can't go back, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, he's leaving as like the fourth best quarterback in the league.
Yeah. Who would you rank above him?
Um. Well, the two obvious ones are Rodgers and Brady right now.
Yeah. Although
And personally, that's it.
I don't know if I would rank Brady above him at this point. I mean,
If you're
obviously, like
talking about pure mechanics alone, then Luck is the second best quarterback in the league. He's better than
I'm
Mahomes. He's better than Wentz.
well, I'm talking about right now. If I wanted to pick a quarterback, assuming they're healthy to play this season,
Luck.
who would I take?
I would take Luck
I would,
over Rodgers.
I don't know that I would.
The reason why
believe
is
in
age.
Rodgers.
The reason why is age. They're actually, I think they're way closer than people give them credit for.
No, I agree with you. Actually, I think the only other quarterbacks that I would take over Luck would be. I mean, I can't argue with what Mahomes did last year.
No, I wouldn't take Mahomes. No. He needs more years, dude.
They're close.
I wouldn't want him.
Like
No, the thing is with Mahomes, I wouldn't want to continue to try to put in the work to grow someone if I knew that Andrew Luck, who is basically already proven to be who he is, and who he is like good enough to win a Super Bowl and more. Then why would I go for someone who still needs a little bit? You know the logic I'm using here.
I understand what you're saying, yes, but I'm just saying if I needed one season, and I have like say I have
Andrew Luck.
a roster
If we're
that's
talking one season, Andrew Luck. If we're talking about the future, Mahomes every time.
I think I'd also take Russell Wilson for one season.
Russell Wilson's up. Yeah, he's. Ooh, Russell's an interesting one. I really like him. Where would you like put him? Like if you had like, all right, we're not gonna rank him like 1 through 10, right? We're not gonna rank quarterbacks like this. We're just gonna put them in tier lists, right? So,
Okay.
S tier, A tier.
Yeah.
You know, like this. Where would you put Russell?
Yeah. I put Wilson in S tier.
S tier. I think I would put him in high A tier. He is very close.
Okay, so first of all, though, are we talking careers or are we talking right now?
Ooh, I don't know. Are we?
Because if we're talking right now, then Tom Brady is probably like a low A tier because he's obviously very good, but he's past his prime. If we're talking careers, he's obviously like double S tier.
I see what you're saying. I was trying to go for just like in general and overall like mix your mash
You
and like
can't mix and match. It's two different things.
yeah, but yeah, I see what you're saying. Yes. I believe. This is really interesting, actually. I'm trying to think. I think we should do this year alone, and I would put Russell in high. That's why I would put Russell in high A tier. Actually, is because like I try to restrict S tier to like 2 or 3. I was about to say characters, but people.
Yeah.
I
don't think that there are more than 2 or 3 that would end up there for me, though.
Luck, Rodgers.
Well, okay, Luck is out now.
Well, out now. Oh shit. Ooh, I see what you're saying.
But okay,
yeah,
the ones
Wilson
that I would
is the only other one.
I would put Rodgers, Wilson, and Mahomes in the S tier at this point.
I want to put Mahomes in S.
Mahomes is iffy because he's only had one season. But um, yeah, I think that's who I would put there. And then there are several who are close, like Carson Wentz. If he puts together another good year, absolutely. Um, but yeah, and then you've got like your C and D tier type quarterbacks like Mariota. Um, but you know,
Yeah.
yeah, I can't think of anybody else. Where do you put Stafford?
Matthew Stafford's A tier, 100%.
Yeah, and I would say probably like Matt Ryan is in that same
Yeah,
tier too.
Matt Ryan's high A tier. He is also like right on the cusp of being S tier. No one should discredit how good Matt Ryan is. I hate this like if you don't
Yeah,
have a good
I
record,
absolutely agree.
then but you're
I
not
agree.
he's so good. Like if you like football, you love watching Matt Ryan play. And
Yeah.
if you love storylines, shouldn't you love Matt Ryan succeeding? I don't know why he gets so much flack.
Other A tier quarterbacks, probably Roethlisberger, I would say.
No. Actually, I'd
No?
put him in B tier right now.
You put him? Okay, fair. How about Philip Rivers?
Philip, Breeze, and Roethlisberger are a high B tier, but I just think that's because there's actually a lot of quarterback talent in the league right now.
Okay, that's fair.
And I try to make a curve, like
Yep.
I am curving the tier list, much
I
like
understand what you're doing, but I I sort of disagree with that. Um that way of doing it. I I guess I would say like okay, and
yeah,
I
because the
don't
way I'm doing it essentially means that there's no way to ever have like if you're doing year by year comparisons, you can never do that with the list that I would make right now because
right.
every list would look identical and you could never see a top heavy league when a top heavy
Right.
league
Yeah, yeah.
exists.
And right
But
now we do have a top heavy
oh,
league.
for sure, for sure.
Um
The talent for quarterbacks nutty because they're protected like hell. So like you can literally have somebody like Baker is an A again. Like that's another guy I'd actually put above like the veterans at this point because
sure.
there's I don't like
But
using
like
potential as a statistic, but like this guy can go like there's a lot of ways he can go that these veterans can't, you know?
right. Well, and part of my thinking too is that like if you're really splitting hairs between two players, do you really want to separate them into a different tier? If you're like and I'm just gonna pick an example. If you think that well, okay, the three players I mentioned before, Roethlisberger, Rivers, and who was the other one I said?
Uh
Oh yeah, Breeze was the other one you mentioned. Like if you think that they're all basically really close, and you're just like you're like, well, I want them all to be in the same tier, but then I would have too many in tier B or whatever, and you got to put one of them in tier A. Like that's just pointless. Like put them in the tier where they belong, and if you have a top heavy league or a bottom heavy league, that's what you have.
I get you. I get you. It's just I'm also trying to right now my list intent isn't to rank like it and see if it's like a top heavy league or something like that. I would mostly make a list for the purpose of comparing quarterbacks right here, right now. And I
Hmm.
think that if you curve it, it it will display that what you actually think about this quarterback compared to their
Yeah.
competition. Because if you put a bunch of people in A tier, it doesn't really tell us a huge story. Everyone seems a
Yeah.
lot closer. But if you put like, it's also like a bigger like statement to say that so and so is in a tier that others wouldn't put him in. Then
Hmm.
and to actually have like a logic behind it, I think is fine.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand that. I definitely understand your angle for this exercise. But anyway, to circle back to Andrew Luck, I think that, like I said before, my S tier of the quarterbacks in the league now would be Rodgers, Wilson, and Mahomes in the S tier. And if Luck was healthy and playing, then I think Luck would be there as well. Um, but yeah, I mean, honestly, a great career when he was healthy, but just too many injuries. And I certainly understand his decision, and it really sucks because like for fans of football, we want to see the best players play, and Andrew Luck is certainly among the best.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna miss him.
Gonna miss how polite he was.
Mm-hmm.
His etiquette. I'm assuming you've seen that video of like football etiquette or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The prime
I mean,
example being him.
Luck is honestly one of my favorite players over the last
Well,
10
yeah.
years. Like he was just so much fun to watch and such a nice guy.
Yeah. I think it was more that he just is fantastic at the game.
That's true.
And and the Colts, to be fair, have always built a fantastic roster around him.
Well, no, they haven't. That's recency bias creeping in, Bryce.
No, even in the start of his career, they had solid
No,
lineups.
no. Their rookie year, his rookie year, they did, but then they did not have an offensive line. They still have offensive line issues,
Yeah, that was
and
the always. I mean,
and
yeah.
until last year, they really didn't have a defense either.
I thought their
Last year, their
defense was
defense,
always above average. Actually, it was.
nope.
There is some moments where, yeah, especially the years where he wasn't there, it's felt incredibly rebuilt. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, their defense has been bad until last year. But anyway, yeah, I mean, I wish that he had been, you know,
Protected.
in a yeah, better protected to avoid some of these injury problems, so that he could have a longer career. But unfortunately, this is just how long we got him for, and we just have to be glad that we got that. Um, by the way, the 2012 quarterback draft class now is down to two who are starting in the league. A couple others um, are still playing. I'm sorry, three starting in the league. I missed one. But would you like to see if you can figure out who they are?
Can you repeat it for a second?
Okay. I'm sorry, I said that really stupidly.
No, you're fine.
The 2012 quarterback draft class, which was Luck's draft class, there are now only three left that are starters. And it was a pretty good draft class.
For
Do you know?
the Lux draft class, there are only 3
Mm-hmm.
starters left
Yep.
in the first round.
Not in the first round, in the entire draft.
Wait. All right. 3 starters left. Let's go. Jameis Winston.
Wrong class.
Damn it. Derek Carr.
Wrong class.
Damn it. How far back are we thinking?
2012.
Oh. He's a lot older than I remember. Wait a minute. I don't even remember watching that one.
Okay, I'll give you the quarterbacks who it is not, who are from that class. So Luck was taken first overall. Second overall was Robert Griffin III. Eighth overall was Ryan Tannehill, who is now the backup in Tennessee.
Oh my.
22nd overall was Brandon Whedon to the Browns.
Oh.
And then in the second round, 57th overall, Brock Osweiler. And then we get yep. And then
Brocktober.
the last one taken was Ryan Lindley, who I think is out of the league. But that was in the 6th round, so he was never expected to do anything. But yeah, the 3 who are still starting were taken in the middle rounds.
Oh my. Yeah, I wouldn't guess. I could not guess.
Okay. So the 3 are Russell Wilson, 3rd round of the Seahawks.
All right. 3rd rounder, by the way.
Yep. The very next pick, I believe. Oh, no, not the very next pick. Never mind. Taken later in the 3rd round is your boy Nick Foles.
Oh.
And and then in the fourth round, Kirk Cousins to
Oh.
Washington. So they drafted Griffin and Cousins in the same year. Um, and then Griffin, of course, flamed out. So yeah, those are the three that are left, and only one starting for his original team.
Wow.
Yeah. Also, three of them have Super Bowl rings. Foles, obviously. Wilson, obviously.
Yes.
And then the other one is Osweiler, who won one as Peyton Manning's backup, which
Honorable.
which is bullshit. But
Honorable. It's honorable. The man is a Super Bowl champion. Brocktober will not die.
I honestly, I would love to have Brocktober again this year. Brocktober was so much fun last year.
What? You mean he was still on the Texans, right?
No, Dolphins.
He was on the Dolphins. Oh yeah, Brocktober was the Dolphins. God, that was such a weird year for the Dolphins. They
That
had
was
like
just
their playoff hopes died in like week 16, which is really late for a team that bad.
I know. Like they were so bad and yet they
They
somehow
beat the
remained
Bears and the
relevant.
Patriots.
Yeah.
Two people who one won the Super Bowl and the other one could have won the Super Bowl if not for a missed extra field goal, honestly.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, we could move on in the news to another item, but do you have any final thoughts on Andrew Luck before we do?
He wasn't as lucky as we were led to believe.
Yeah. Um, okay. So I'm skipping ahead a little bit in the news because you brought this up, but the Bears did pick a kicker. Um, so they settled on Eddie Pinheiro, dot, 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 for now.
Eddie, what?
According to
Oh, for kickers and Bears.
according to Matt Nagy, they've settled on Eddie Pinheiro for now, but when roster cuts happen, if there's another kicker available that they like, they might, you know, try him out. But anyway, the other kickers who lost the job to Pinheiro were really unhappy about the way that the Bears are running this competition, which is kind of funny to me. Apparently, Nagy is just obsessed with the field goal that Cody Parkey missed, and he keeps having his kickers kick from that distance or similar distances, and like that's the most important thing. Um, that they be able to hit from that distance.
That's kind of funny.
And the other thing that they complained about is apparently there's this guy, Jamie Cole, who is the Bears kicker consultant. Um,
Bears kicker consultant.
and apparently he is like biased toward the guys that he's worked with before.
Oh,
So
all
the other
right.
guys, the other kickers were all complaining about how they never had a real shot because they would only ever pick one of Jamie Cole's guys. So it just seems like a mess, and I don't understand why this is the only kicker competition that is getting reported on. Like, I want to hear more of this stuff.
Kicker competitions only for you. You're like
Like,
the target
only for
audience. It's just you.
only
There
for
is no Venn
me,
diagram.
me and Dan Hansis are in a group alone where we love kicker competitions. Um, but yeah, so Eddie Pinheiro's the guy for right now. Um, we'll see what happens there. I can't wait until week one when he triple doinks it and gets cut, and
Ah,
then they
yes.
against the Packers, and then they go and bring back Chris Blewett. Um,
That's the plan.
that's the plan. But anyway, so that's Bears kicker talk for now. In more relevant news, I suppose, Jadavian Clowney. He was the one guy, or one of the guys, I should say, who got franchise tag that did not sign the tag and is holding out. And this looks like it could extend into the season. The Texans have entertained trade talks for him, which to me is just mind boggling. Like,
The league has been really drama filled, it seems.
well, like and I mean, Jadeveon Clowney, he's a good enough player. Just pay the guy. Like
Uh
he's worth it to that defense.
Defense is also pretty all right. To be fair,
I
I
mean,
think on the front, it's all right. Front end that I remember.
it's look, it's not nothing without Clowney. Like it's still a good defense without him, but like he makes it a lot better. Like you put him and JJ Watt on the field together, how do you block? Like how do you defend both of them? And like that's been their whole thing, and they haven't had a lot of time where they've both been healthy, but when they have, they've been dominant. So like to me it's just ridiculous that they're talking about trading him, but we'll continue to monitor that, of course. Another holdout that is going nowhere is Melvin Gordon. And Melvin Gordon looks like he's going to continue this into the season. That seems very, very likely at this point. Um, and the Chargers don't seem to want to meet him at the number he's demanding. He's demanding like 13 million per year, and they want to give him 10 or something like that. Um, and they don't seem likely to meet in the middle. So that's looking like it's going to extend into the season. That could have a big impact on fantasy football more than regular football, because I think that the Chargers have enough in their backfield that they can make up for being without him for a little while. But worst case, this could end up just like the Lev Bell scenario from last year.
I mean, there are other holdouts happening, right? Specifically in Dallas that I think have been more
Well,
covered for obvious
yeah,
reasons.
I was
Same
coming to
state.
that.
Yeah.
Not the same state. Well, okay, same state as Clowney.
Same. Yeah. The
different,
Houston, Dallas.
different state than Melvin Gordon, who I was just talking about. But
Well. Oh yeah. Well. Okay. Yeah. But
yeah, but yeah, Elliott, of course, Ezekiel Elliott is also holding out. And the Cowboys, I just hate the Cowboys so much. I hate all the media coverage they get, and this whole thing is just so stupid that like Jerry Jones is like being like, oh yeah, we don't need him, we don't need Ezekiel Elliott, and he's like, we're fine starting the season without him. We just want him for the playoffs. It's like, grow up. So stupid. I hate the Cowboys so much. I don't want to talk about it anymore because
all
this is
right.
my
So
podcast.
all right. So it.
We don't talk about the Cowboys here.
All right. All right. I get it. Damn. Damn. I didn't know it was so
My version of the
heated.
NFL does not have the Dallas Cowboys in it. Um,
It has the London Black Knights instead.
no, no. It has the San Diego Graybeards.
San
Um,
Diego. Ah, I see. Of course.
um,
How could I be so foolish?
right. Um, so anyway, moving on then. Deshaun Jackson is apparently dealing with a finger injury, which could cause him to miss time. He's still looking to play week one. He's going to see if he can like wear a splint and if he'll still be able to catch the ball and play
Yeah.
normal snaps. Um, so that's a situation to monitor. He could end up missing a couple weeks, and that would be a significant blow to the Eagles' offense at this point. Um, he's of course returning to Philadelphia after time in Washington and Tampa, and he's slotted to be their number two. So that could be significant if he ends up missing time early in the season. So a situation to watch for sure. Um, Another injury is Cam Newton,
Good God.
who Cam Newton is at this point he is expected to play week one, which to me was a surprise because of the whole offseason shoulder surgery. His season was in doubt. Um, but he is expected to play week one, and he's also dealing with an ankle issue. Um, that's a more recent thing that happened in training camp, but apparently he's going to be able to play through that. So we'll see what this Cam Newton looks like, who can't throw and can't run. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what you can do if you're a quarterback who can't throw or run.
Do I have
But
a prediction about them?
do you? That's a good question.
Did I say? Did I remember we said something about Cam Newton, didn't we? I wonder if this was before we were doing predictions or not.
Might have been.
But what didn't I? Was it me who said something about
You don't have a Cam Newton prediction. I don't think I do either.
And
at
like,
least in the official ones.
I thought I said something about him. Like, I'm willing to bet that he doesn't start, or like he doesn't last like 3 weeks. Maybe this was back when we made the Panthers like record. And we're explaining that, and it has to do
I'm
with
pretty sure they're like, aren't they like 3-13 in our
because
predictions?
we think Cam Newton's gonna not be on the team, and it's literally just gonna be a Christian McCaffrey and no one else show. And those teams generally don't do well when your only good player is a running back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I did look it up just now, and we do have them projected to go 3-13.
I wouldn't change that at all, actually.
No, even with Cam Newton in there, they're not looking good.
I don't think Cam Newton's looking good.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on. Good God, Captain. Season-ending injury alert. Lamar Miller, Texans running back, tore his ACL. Preseason game against the Cowboys, who don't exist.
Who don't exist.
So, yeah, that's obviously a difficult blow for the Texans offense. But the good news is that shortly before the injury, they did acquire Duke Johnson, the former Browns running back, who demanded a trade earlier this offseason and has been traded to the Texans for a fourth-round pick. And then shortly after that trade, Miller goes down with an injury. So Duke Johnson is set to actually play like really significant snaps potentially for the Texans. He could end up being just the starter. There's other players in the mix too. I think the name that I read was Tywan Jones, former Raiders running back.
Mm-hmm.
But Duke Johnson seems like the front runner. So really a big shift in his situation in just a few weeks. Goes from being the backup behind Nick Chubb and later in the season Kareem Hunt returning to now being potentially a week 1 starter. So I guess this is good news
All's
for
well
Duke.
It ends well for him, but good God, Captain. It was a nasty injury too. Like,
yeah, and it sucks because I believe he was in a contract year, which that always sucks when players go down in a contract year.
Why does that suck, by the way?
Well, because it's their last chance to like pump up their value before they hit the open market.
I see what you mean by that.
So like if he'd stayed healthy and played well, you could see him getting paid a lot of money. But now it looks like he'll probably end up signing some sort of 1-year contract next season with somebody and try to rebuild his value. Always unfortunate. I hate to see that for players.
Yeah, the injury alone is just
yeah. But okay, anyway, moving on from that. Okay, we finally have some non-injury news. And then we're going to get back to injury news. So all of you injury fans out there, we're getting back to it. Don't worry. But this is a topic that I really didn't even want to talk about, but here it is. It's the whole Antonio Brown thing with his helmet. I mean, what the hell? Why? Have you followed this?
I mean, at the end of the day, I don't care.
I know. I don't.
I've been following it, and I mean, Whatever, man. You do you. I think that John Gruden's been handling it really well. He's just
Yeah, I
been saying, like, I
suppose.
support my player. He hasn't been trying to cause any drama. He knew that when he got this player, this third round pick, what he was getting himself into. All right?
Yeah, he
And
knew.
he doesn't have a lot of stock in this guy, but he knows the
Hmm.
potential, and he's just trying to just let the guy do his thing. But on the field, that's all I'm worried about. And
Like
hey, if
he threatened to retire if he couldn't use the helmet he wanted.
yep, and he said he was just gonna support him. I don't care about Antonio Brown. Fuck him. I don't care.
Yeah, I let's move on. Back to the injuries, which everybody wants to hear about. Um, so Derwin James, apparently he has a stress fracture in his foot. The Chargers safety, and he will be beginning the season on IR. There's the potential he could come back with the IR boomerang, as they like to call it. Um, so that's a big loss, though, for the Chargers. He was second in Defensive Rookie of the Year voting last year. So obviously an impact player, and a big loss for the Chargers, at least for the first half of the season. Um, any thoughts on that, or move on?
Nah, just move on. I'm more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so the Arizona Cardinals have signed Michael Crabtree, which is a good move for them. They desperately needed another wide receiver besides Larry Fitzgerald.
Oh
Um,
no! Hey, don't give Christian Kirk.
they
Hey, Christian
they
Kirk is really good. Damn it! I think he is a stud. Ah,
they basically have Fitzgerald and then a bunch of raw prospects.
Kirk is
Um,
good. No, I am saying it now. He is good. He is good. I will
okay,
not let this slander. He's the best receiver on that team still.
all right. Um, you may very well be right, but the Cardinals needed veteran leadership and depth, if nothing else. So Michael Crabtree fills an important need for them. Um, moving on, the team that I don't like gave a 5-year contract extension to Jalen Smith worth $64 million. He was heading into a contract year, and of course, they decided to pay him, which I think was the right decision. Uh, Huge part of that defense last year, along with Leighton Vander Esch. Um, and they locked him down long term. And really nice to see that for a guy who was drafted injured, missed his whole rookie season.
For
Nice
sure.
to see that he's gone on to have a good career now. Um, so one or two podcasts ago, I don't remember exactly when it was, we gave kind of an ode to the career of Josh McCown. Um,
I remember that. I think that was
because
back when the Jets got their new jerseys.
maybe that was a while back, but Josh McCown, of course, retired back then, but now he has come out of retirement um,
That's
to
where you're
play
wrong,
for
kiddo.
right. To play for the Philadelphia Eagles, who lost both of their backup quarterbacks to injuries. Cody Kessler and Nate Sudafeld both went down with injuries. So McCown comes out of retirement to go back up Carson Wentz. Um,
And before
and
Josh McCown, Super Bowl winner,
um, yeah,
as the
I
starting
can't wait.
quarterback.
I seriously can't wait until the Eagles are like on a playoff run, Wentz gets hurt, and then Josh McCown wins the Super Bowl.
Ah,
That
yes. In or
that would
out. What a fitting end to his career.
oh man, if
And
that
he beats
happens,
Tom Brady. Watch that.
that's the oldest quarterback matchup ever in Super Bowl history.
Combined age of 95, I think.
No, their combined age, by the way, is 82. I looked this up.
Oh my! How do you have that on like memory? Wait.
Brady is 42, McCown is 40, so their combined age is 82. Um, so yeah. Um, anyway, so yeah, I'm happy that Josh McCown is still around. I hope that we don't see him because I love Carson Wentz and I want him to succeed. But it's good to have McCown around. And honestly, like he's such a coach. Like you know what I mean? Like
I think that gets overrated, but yeah.
He's basically a quarterbacks coach, and the last time that Wentz had a good quarterbacks coach, uh, he had like an MVP season until he got hurt, and then they won the Super Bowl. So like, I could see this going very well for the Eagles.
I think he'll be overplayed no matter whatever happens.
Probably,
I
probably.
don't think Josh McCown is that impactful. I think that he's Josh McCown. And he's been in the league for this long because he's Josh McCown, but he's not been a good quarterback for this long because he's Josh McCown. Like I don't like when this whole angle of just coach him up. Don't worry, it's a mental game. He gives whatever, he gives a great speech, he gives great advice, whatever. No, I don't buy into all of that. I'm sure that like there are certain things that like McCown's like, yo, at one you're doing X, you can do Y or whatever. And like little nitpicky things, which like do help in the long run, but I don't think there's anything more he adds really.
All right. Okay. So are we ready to move on to predictions? I don't have anything else in the news. As I said in our pre-podcast discussion, there's a lot of sort of minor injuries floating around out there, but I didn't feel like talking about all of them because there's just a lot. Everybody's a little bit banged up after training camp and the preseason, and it's only going to escalate going forward.
Yeah,
Um,
that's how it works. And
but and there's been a few more catastrophic injuries, but no like players that I think are worth talking about. So
they're not worth our breath.
um, the only one actually that I wanted to mention, and I forgot to include this in the news. Let me quick look it up. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. And okay, the only reason that I mentioned this is because it's a Packer, but Equanimous St. Brown is dealing with an ankle sprain. He is likely to miss the start of the season, it looks like. So that definitely opens up some space for other wide receivers to get playing time. Um, the one that I'm excited to see because it looks like okay, Adams is obviously the number one, and then it looks like Valdez Scantling
yeah,
and Geronimo Allison are the next two, and then it was St. Brown, Kumaro, Jamon Moore, and Trevor Davis all competing for playing time after that. And what I'm excited to see now is with St. Brown's injury, I think Jake Kumaro is the one that's going to slot in. And he's the one that I'm kind of excited to see because he was sort of the preseason darling last season and then got injured and missed most of the year. But then he came back in that week 16 game against the Jets and made a couple of really great plays. So I would love to see Kumaro carve out a role for himself, but we'll see what happens
for
there.
sure.
Anyway,
that's just more a you thing, though. The more of a just
yeah.
I love my Packers, and the Packers are all I care about thing.
Well, they're not all I care about. They didn't even come up in the news like prior to that.
Fair. All right. Touche. But like, I want you to name an episode of the podcast where we haven't said Packers.
Well, of course, we've talked about them every episode. They're one of the 31 NFL teams. um,
Sticking with it, I guess. All right.
so, anyway, are we ready to move on to predictions?
Yeah, yeah. I want me to go first because mine's pretty spicy.
Okay.
All right. All right. Uh, Hear it.
And to clarify, you just have one this time?
I have one,
Okay,
but
perfect.
it's a very relevant one. All right.
Perfect. Because mine I could make into two predictions, but I would really rather not because
All right.
the
Yeah.
first prediction isn't even that good.
So the AFC South looks very dire right now. The quarterbacks starting are Brissett, Mariota, Nick Foles, and just Deshaun Watson. Just a tad bit of a stud. Nothing much, but anyway, every single roster seems to be having their own strifes, aside from the Titans and Jaguars, oddly enough. But Titans have always seemed, on paper, like a middling of the pack team. And the Houston Texans, I think everyone can agree, if you look at everyone else's predictions, probably are going to win the division at this point. People are saying, I think when I look at what the analysts that I look at, and which are mostly just film room analysts, to be fair, they say that the Texans look the best right now.
Yeah.
However,
I want to interrupt for a second. I do agree that if you just look at the starters, I think that the Texans have the best team in that division. But depth has been an issue for the Texans for years. So, as soon as injuries set in, they're done.
All right. All right. That's a very, very hard thing to bet on. But I see that you're going to use the historical context, and you know what? More power to you. I don't
I'm not
using
the historical context. What do you mean?
Of them not having depth.
No, they still don't have depth. Their roster looks basically the same as it did last year.
I don't think there's any way for us to know for sure who has depth. I'm not gonna lie. Because the positions that they didn't have depth in were not the impact position. It was more offensive line.
No, it was everybody. The wide receivers, they didn't have a wide receiver after Will Fuller went down. They just had DeAndre Hopkins and nobody. They didn't have anybody else who could do anything, and so teams could triple cover Hopkins. If you can't stand, if you're a team that can't withstand your number 2 wide receiver, I'm sorry, but you don't have depth.
Okay. That is I can't comment on that. I won't pretend I know the depth of the Texans. I know that you are absolutely correct in this, but
okay.
I just don't want to comment on that. But that is not my point anyway.
Continue with your prediction.
Yes. So of the teams that you got, my beloved Jaguars next, and to me they look pretty well rounded. They look like a solid team that I think will actually expose the weaknesses of Foles other than his strengths. That is my prediction actually for the first few weeks, is that I think that he will get shown up as somebody who is a coin flip player, and if his receivers are always on the wrong side of the coin, he's not going to perform well. Regardless, I hope they do well, and I hope that I'm wrong with this, and their defense still carries them. The Titans look middling of the pack as they always have. However, new coaching could result in, maybe a more run game-esque approach to the game, of something more old-fashioned. Maybe they could be in the same vein as the Jaguars, in build archetype and what they are as a team, because they do look like very similar teams on paper, and actually how they usually perform. They seem like their defense isn't actually half bad. Anyway, we go back to the Colts. Despite losing Andrew Luck, the Colts will have a winning record.
Okay.
I believe their roster is good enough. I've looked at their defense, and I think their defense is good enough. I think they are like a above average top 10-ish defense. They have a lot of power picks. They have a very, very solid star-studded roster there. You move on to their offense. Sure, Luck being gone, very bad. But their receiving core is pretty well rounded. They even have Eric Ebron in the Titans. I mean, what? Tight ends. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
Marlon Mack isn't a bad running back in any right. I believe he's actually quite solid, and their offensive line is pretty good in the running game and the passing game. Jacoby Brissett might be a very bad spot in that whole entire offense, and maybe lack of leadership does crumble in their face. However, I've had many examples in my life where, despite having no leadership and seemingly in shambles, they still come through and win 9 games miraculously. And I believe that is what the Colts will do. Boom.
So your prediction is that despite losing Andrew Luck, the Colts will still have a winning record.
Yes. I will not double down and go for playoffs because I want the Jaguars to make it.
Yeah. By the way, I really thought, I was wondering which one of our predictions this year would just go catastrophically wrong. Last year it was the Cardinals we had predicted to be really good,
and the 49ers. Yeah, both of them.
Well, and the Niners. And this year, it seems apparent that the Colts is going to be the one that goes catastrophically.
We had a 15-1
Colts,
didn't we?
I think they were 14-2. But yeah.
Hey, I'm predicting at least only a 5-game drop. Luck is worth 5 games. That is not to say he's not good. I'm saying he's literally worth 5 wins for a team. I refuse to believe that their team isn't good enough outside of Luck. The game, that stat in MLB, the
WAR wins above replacement.
Yeah, that is one of the most useful stats in the sport, I feel, and I wish other sports had it, but I realize that they really can't because of the amount of games, especially that football plays.
It's useful if you believe that the stat is actually accurate to a degree. It's, in a sense, it's still a subjective stat. So you have to kind of
with context.
You have to believe in it in order for it to actually be useful, but I agree. So okay. That's an interesting prediction. Do you want to maybe pull up the schedule for the Colts so we can kind of discuss this a little bit?
How was your day last night?
I'm trying to find it. There they are. Colts. So you think they're going to get to 9 wins? Where do we have? I guess where do 9 wins come from? Are you still there, Bryce?
I'm here 1 second.
Okay. Because in our original predictions, we did have them going 14-2, and we had them losing to the Chiefs and splitting with the Jaguars. So that's where their 2 losses came from.
Yeah.
So, of the 14 wins, we need at least 9 of them to still be wins for this to.
This to pan out. For sure. Do they beat the Jaguars once? No. Do they beat the Titans both times? Yes. There's 2 right there. Texans, I believe they are. I still believe the Colts have a better roster than the Texans all around. People would say the Texans have a good roster, and I agree. I don't think it's good enough to beat the Colts still.
Okay.
All right, so that's 5 wins already, or 4. I mean 4.
4 wins already. Okay.
That's 4. We're already halfway there.
Let's go down it here. So, week 1 at Chargers.
Hmm. I could see him. I could see that being a win.
I could honestly see that because like the
I
Chargers
the
the Chargers
problem I
having the
have is that it's like they need to have this new quarterback come into an offense swinging immediately because their offense will like have no synergies at all with this new
mm,
guy calling. So I would imagine the first few weeks might have a few like just they get blown out of the water on one side of the
yeah.
ball, which
Well, okay though, but the Chargers having like a -10 in the home field advantage stat, um, that could be a factor. You know what I'm saying?
-10. Like I know what you're. I don't. They're just away games. Like the Chargers just play every game away. That's fine. They're just used to
Okay.
it at this point. I mean,
So okay.
you kind of go into the season knowing this, I guess.
So you're giving them 4 wins against the Titans and Texans,
Yes.
and then we're saying Chargers is a maybe.
Yes. I gotta see the rest of their opponents.
Week 3 versus Falcons. That's
No,
a loss.
no, they don't win.
Week 4 versus Raiders. I think that's a win.
That they can win that one. They can definitely win that
So
one.
that's
So we're at
that's
that. We're
fine.
at 5.5.
Okay. Then week 5 is against the Chiefs. Week 6 is a bye.
Uh,
Then week 7 Texans. Week 8 versus Broncos.
yeah,
That could be a win.
that's a win. That's
So
another
we're at,
one.
we're at 6.5 now.
All right.
Week 9 at Pittsburgh.
No, no,
Okay.
no. I want to. Let's be
Week 10
realistic.
Week 10 versus Dolphins.
Yes.
Yep, okay.
How many are we at now? 7.5.
Yep. Then we get Jaguars, Texans, Titans. Week 14 at Tampa Bay. I think that's a
Yes.
win. Yep.
8.5. I'm
Eight and a
saying.
half. Week 15 at Saints. No.
Mm,
I'm going to say no.
at that point, the Saints would be also in shambles, though. Don't we?
Okay, so
That's a
maybe that's
maybe.
also
That's
a
a
half.
maybe. I would say that would be a maybe. There's definitely a chance they win that, and a higher chance than the rest of the losses, way higher.
Okay. And then week 16 versus Panthers.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean that is what we ended up with.
Like 10, 9.5. Like they have two
We ended up
potential
I
wins,
think
and like we would give them like 9 guaranteed wins.
wow. Okay, well, we'll see how this goes. It is bold. A team losing their starting quarterback still finishes with a winning record. Um, I I did just remember something though that I wrote down years ago when it happened on the Around the NFL podcast. Um, this is a super long ranging prediction that was made jokingly by Greg Rosenthal that Jacoby Brissett, better known as Jake Brisket, he made this prediction on October 2nd, 2016, when Jacoby Brissett was still a backup for the Patriots. He said he will win a Super Bowl in 2024. Then, almost a year later, on September 29th, 2017, Greg Rosenthal said he'll also win his second MVP in the 2024 season. So if these predictions are to come true by NFL Network's Greg Rosenthal, this could be the start of something great for Jake Brisket.
Yeah. Oh man, I
I
can't
will
wait
never.
for the Colts to be like one of those teams that like has a winning record this season. It's like maybe they can do it with this quarterback, right? And then
Mhm.
next season it's like 3-13.
No, I honestly think. I was also trying to come up with. Okay, so you remember when Peyton Manning, of course, got injured and the Colts went on their suck for luck year, where the idea was just lose as many games as possible so you could draft luck. And it got nicknamed by the media "suck for luck." And then a couple years ago, Dan Hansis started calling for the Jets to scam for Sam.
And they
Um,
did.
and they did, and it worked. I was trying to come up with a name for the Colts this year, um, and the best I could do was
Fuck, we suck.
win never for Trevor.
Would
Um,
never for Trevor.
that was the best I could do. Because of course Trevor Lawrence is the guy who's
Supposedly joining
supposedly going to be the number one overall pick. Um, but but yeah, I would love to see like Jake Brisket takes them to a 9-7 record, and then they just go, yep, we're gonna actually stick with Brisket going forward, and he has like an MVP season in in the next couple years, and then wins the Super Bowl in 2024.
after.
I would
Yes.
in another MVP season. Like that would just be amazing. I want to see it so bad.
Now we're all on the Jake Brisket hype train.
The Jake Brisket hype train, and I will never stop calling him Jake Brisket. By the way,
For sure.
um, so all right, I actually do like that prediction. It'll be interesting to see what happens with the Colts. It might be that by week 6 going into their bye, they could be like 0-5, and we're like, oh man, they're never this isn't gonna happen. Um, but we'll see how it goes. Um, anyway, moving on then to my prediction. So this is one that I came up with sort of this morning, spur of the moment, while I was waiting for us to start the podcast. So it's not that well thought out, but I think it is bold. So, of the 8 head coaches who are in their first year with a new team this season, so that is Freddie Kitchens with the Browns, and now he was with them last year, but he's first year head coach.
Yes.
Bruce Arians with Tampa Bay, Matt LaFleur with the Packers, Brian Flores with the Dolphins, Vic Fangio with the Broncos, Adam Gase with the Jets, Zach Taylor with the Bengals, and Cliff Kingsbury with the Cardinals. Of those 8 coaches, my bold prediction is that Matt LaFleur will be the last one remaining.
Nah.
No?
Nah. Nah.
You don't like it?
No, it's not happening. No. Okay. No, not with Adam Gase.
Adam Gase.
No, it's not happening.
Here's what's funny to me about that. Adam Gase was not the one that made me think this is bold. Adam Gase was not the one who I figured to last very long.
What? Wait.
The ones who I think. Okay, here's my reasoning on this. Bruce Arians, he's kind of an easy scratch because he already retired once due to health concerns, so he's out. Brian Flores is a first-time head coach on a terrible Dolphins team.
Yeah, he's out. And
Vic Fangio
and Vic Fangio, I don't trust.
Vic Fangio is taking over a Broncos team that's a total mess.
Zach Taylor as well.
Zach Taylor, okay, I'll come back to Zach Taylor. And then Cliff Kingsbury is coming in with a rookie quarterback, granted, number 1 overall.
I think Cliff Kingsbury can last a while, too. He's the one with potential to last.
Kingsbury, I feel like it's not going to work. I think that trying to bring a college offense into the NFL game, it worked for one season with Robert Griffin III, and then look what happened there.
I mean, it also works with Patrick Mahomes, but okay.
They're not running a college offense.
Definitely running an Air Raid college offense. That has a lot of college influences in it. I would
college influences, but this is Andy Reid we're talking about.
Yeah, one of the most he's the best regular season coach. You know,
yeah,
he's the best.
Exactly.
He will never win a Super Bowl though. He's the best regular season coach. There's a lot to say about that and a lot to unpack.
Careful, Bryce. We do have them predicted to win the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah, but I predicted the Bears to win. You just were like, "No, it can't happen." No, wait. Like you
um,
said that I can't vote for the Bears to win the Super Bowl because you're like, "No, fuck that team."
yeah.
This is
The
no.
Bears,
You voted Andy Reid to win a Super Bowl.
the
I'm not
Bears,
buying it.
the Bears are the backup Cowboys.
But
So
they're a commendable rival. I would if they
I know, I'm kidding.
succeed, then the rivalry gets better.
I agree with you. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the Bears. But anyway, okay, so we kind of agree that Arians, Flores, and Fangio are pretty likely to not last. Um, and I'm saying Kingsbury. I don't think it'll work,
I
but
think that it has.
you never know.
You can't say it like Flores would. Like I don't
Okay,
think it's as
agreed.
set in stone as like
We to
Bengals,
be fair,
Broncos, Dolphins.
I don't know what any of these eight coaches are going to do, and I'm
Yeah,
just trying to sort of parse this out. And
we're going by
my
narratives alone
view,
here.
I'm skeptical of Kingsbury at this point, but obviously he has his chance to prove what he can do, as do all of these guys. That said, moving on, Zach Taylor with the Bengals is one that scares me a little bit with this prediction because just of how long Marvin Lewis stuck around. um, if Taylor has a tenure like Marvin Lewis did, then there's no way that LaFleur can last longer than him. Um, but okay, assuming that the Bengals front office has finally come to their senses about head coaches, then yeah, I could see Zach Taylor
There's a difference there. Marvin Lewis was a really good coach for the Bengals. For the
for
Bengals.
for a long time. Yeah,
He was
um,
actually someone who took them out of the gutter and put them on the pedestal of, hey, look, I'm an NFL team.
right.
They were an
So
NFL team for like over a decade because of Marvin Lewis, who made the playoffs 4 times. Don't get like he's not the best coach in the world, but for the Bengals, he was like a god.
right, I absolutely agree. Um, so
The front office
I
didn't do
do feel
bad.
like it's a different situation with Zach Taylor, and he could be out after a few seasons. You never know. Um, then Adam Gase, of course, he's had some success. He's had some failures as a head coach, um, and we like this Jets team, but at the same time, it's the Jets. What have they always done? They've always like every time they've had potential, they've squandered it somehow.
I hate using
And
potential. I hate
I
using potential as a metric.
but right now, that's all they have is potential.
I think
They
they're just good.
but we don't know that because they have so many new
Well,
players that
I
we
don't know
haven't
that the
seen.
Colts are going to go 14-2, but I still predicted it.
Well, of course.
I mean,
But
like that I don't. I'm confident that the Jets are good. I'm confident. I'm not. I don't think there's potential. I think they are good.
I'm honestly rooting for the Jets at this point. But here I'll come back to Gase in a second because the only other name left is Freddie Kitchens. And I I really the Jets and Browns are both teams that I want to see succeed with these new regimes. Um, I would like to see them do well. I like both Mayfield and Darnold,
You
and I
also
want
like
to
the Around
see,
the NFL podcast, and
of
you're
course,
rooting. And with this prediction, you're rooting against the Jets and Browns. By the way,
I am rooting against the Jets and Browns, but I'm rooting for the Packers. So how could I not? Um,
this is why Packer fans don't deserve any happiness. This right here. This is the reason why no one likes a Packer fan. Right here.
but okay, my point is, I think Freddie Kitchens will have a decently long tenure with the Browns, and he's honestly the main reason that I'm like he. If if I had to pick one of these eight coaches, or one of the seven coaches rather, to mess up this prediction by outlasting Lafleur, Kitchens would be the guy.
Nah,
And
Adam Gaze has more potential to stay. I hate it. I did it again. I used the
you
word.
did it again. Yep, you did.
I hate using it because you know why I hate using potential, right? Because that's like it's a bullshit metric that just people come up with. It's just like
Yep.
in their head, like, oh, but I can see it in the future. Like you can see
Yeah.
anybody, anyone has potential.
Blake
Potential
Bortles.
can go any. Also, potential can go. They can be potentially good at just as much as they can be potentially bad. The stock market can crash as fast as it rose. Like
So
never. I hate
anyway,
using potential. It's just.
anyway, my take with this prediction is okay. LaFleur is going to have to last beyond like 3 or 4 seasons because if you look at head coaching hires, a lot of them end up washed out after only a few seasons to prove themselves. So, a LaFleur is going to have to outlast that, and then secondly, he's going to have to outlast whichever other coaches of this group succeed and are around long term. And this is where my thinking on Kitchens and Gase comes in is that the Browns and Jets have both been bad for so long. And the Jets, especially with that media market, there's a lot of pressure on their front office and their ownership to make hasty decisions when things start to get bad. And so, even if Gase is successful, if LaFleur is also, if the Packers have success this year and in the next couple of years, and the Jets do as well, I feel like a Packers head coach could survive things going bad for a couple years if he's able to rebound. A Jets head coach could not survive things going bad for a couple years. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, but
Is
Adam
that
Gase will
kind of
not. Adam Gase has never had a bad season.
yeah, he has.
He's had underwhelmed.
Dude, he
He
was the head coach of the Dolphins
Yeah, but
last
he
year.
never had a bad season relative to the predictions of the roster that he was given. He has always had seasons where he himself, people kind of
I'm
unanimously
sorry.
agree, has netted wins for the team.
He's never had a bad season relative to what? People's predictions of how he would do?
Yes,
That's the argument you're going with
I
here. Okay.
am.
You understand this is a potential based argument, right?
How so?
You ju- oh
How
my god.
so? How so? I'm struggling to process. I think I know what you're getting at here because predictions aren't set in stone. They're just predictions. They just mark the potential supposedly of a team,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
they are educated guesses. And when a large group of people looks at your roster and looks at the film of the players that you are currently exhibiting and says, "Man, they suck." And you're like, "Nah, we just kind of suck." That gives me a lot of bank in my pocket. All I'm saying is Adam Gase, coach of the split, the year, the season.
Part of the argument against Gase too is that because well, and this goes back to what I was saying before, but because the Jets generate so much drama around their team just being a New York team,
Ooh, drama.
but okay, because of that, there's going to be a lot of people calling for Gase's head anytime anything goes wrong. And
Uh, I don't think. I just don't think that matters. I never think
it
that.
does, it definitely
I
matters.
never have thought that it matters if
Here's
the
here's a question
media
for you.
don't like a
Mike
coach.
McCarthy, Mike McCarthy lasted for a long time in Green Bay, and there is no
Mm-hmm.
way he would have lasted that long with the same track record had he been in New York. There's just no way.
I don't think that's media perception. I think that's just how the ownership of each team functions and the different
Okay.
philosophies that they follow. That has nothing to do with people wanting his head.
I disagree with that. However, either way you look at it, a Packers coach is in a better situation to stay long term than a Jets coach.
No, Mike McCarthy was. I
Either
don't think. I mean, if you go back in time, what do you actually have Packers head coaches lasted like super long before Mike McCarthy?
yeah, actually, well, Mm,
Well,
it's been a mixed bag. The
Okay.
okay, but here's what it was before McCarthy. Before McCarthy was Mike Sherman,
Mm-hmm.
who didn't last that long. Um, and I believe before Sherman was Holmgren, unless I'm missing somebody. And Holmgren, of course, lasted quite a while, won a Super Bowl, and only left because he wanted to be a GM slash coach, and the Packers didn't want that. Um, and before that, of course, was when the Packers were terrible in the 80s. So I really have no idea what their coaching situation was like before that. But then, of course, you go further back and you get back to Lombardi, and of course, we all know
Yeah.
about Lombardi. But anyway, I feel like LaFleur is well set up to have a long run as head coach if things go well in these first couple seasons, which I think that they will. And that's me being an optimistic Packers fan.
Well,
Um, and so, really, just the question is, can he outlast Gase and Kitchens? And I think that for Gase, I think that yes, because if anything starts to go wrong, um, suddenly Gase is on the chopping block. And if with Kitchens is the one that scares me with this prediction. Like I said before, he's the one that I feel like because the Browns, okay, the Browns have been bad for a very long time. We know this. They turned it around last season and were exciting, and now they have massive hype around them going into this season. If that does not pan out this season and they're bad again and then they're bad next season, Kitchens is gone. There's no way around that. But that said, if the potential, to use that word again, does pan out and the Browns are good this year and going forward, then Kitchens could be around for a very long time. And of course, head coaches are often tied to the quarterbacks, and Baker Mayfield is going to outlast Aaron Rodgers. So uh, so there's that. So that's why I think it's bold. I think there's a couple of guys here who have great potential to outlast LaFleur, even if LaFleur does well. Um, but that is my prediction. And again, it's me being an
it
optimistic
is.
Packers
Yep.
fan, but that's my prediction.
You know what? You root for your team. You ride by them. You die by them. It's your prediction. Your funeral.
Okay.
That's what I have to. It's bold. I will say. I think it is bold. That's just because I'm also on the hype train of Adam Gase, and I think that the Jets are gonna have a few good seasons under their belt, especially with what's happening with the Patriots. I do believe that they will be number one eventually, at least in the coming years, really soon.
Yeah, it is. I honestly hope so. I'm really sick of the Patriots.
All right. So yeah, those are predictions. All right.
Yep. Just give me a second. I'm just writing down mine
Oh,
on
I
the
see.
thing.
That's yeah. Is that in the same Excel sheet, by the way?
Yeah, it is.
I've never really checked it. I should probably soon. Can't wait till we accidentally predict the exact same thing we did like months before.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's why we have the spreadsheet, Bryce. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah, should we move on then to the music discussion?
Oh, I can't wait. This is what I've been waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, do you want me to go first or do you want to talk about get?
Okay. Yeah. Dude, this was oh man. You know what? You go first. I need to find the right words. You go first.
Number of the Beast is a fantastic record. It is a very good album. Iron Maiden, once again, like I hate how like people just give the title of gimmicky to bands much like Iron Maiden, like Judas Priest, like all these bands. Back in the day, they were fantastic. Like I don't know. Like you have a few albums that around here in this little 70s 80s range that are just like in a sense eternal, and like they're just solid metal records that have diverse and tight song structures. And what's really impressive is how good the the songwriting actually is. Like you do have a few hits on here like Number of the Beast and Run for the Hills, of course. But like just in general, the album is very tightly knit with a lot of tight riffs, diverse instrumentation, and a lot of skill being displayed. There we go. And yeah, I would give it like an 8 probably.
Okay.
It's a good record.
All right. Well, speaking of a good record,
100 gex, 1,000 geck. Yes.
Yeah. This is probably the greatest thing that I've ever heard.
Please tell me that's not bullshit.
Of course it's bullshit. This was terrible.
But
I'm sorry. I absolutely hated this, Bryce.
It's so good. It's so good.
It's not. I don't know if it's
Bet my
even
money
music.
on the Stupid Horse. I lost that. Stupid Horse is a banger. Money Machine is the best song of the year. I love Money Machine so much.
All of these songs were bad.
But hey, you little piss baby. You think you're so fucking cool, huh? You think you're so fucking tough? You talk a lot of big game for someone with such a small truck. Oh, look at those arms. Your arms look so fucking cute. They look like little cigarettes.
I bet I could smoke you. Yep.
It's such a good song. It's so
it's
good.
just not.
But it's geck, dude.
That was oh man. All of these were just like I don't know if they were even songs. Like that.
That's just I don't get. Wait, I don't know how you can say that because they're clearly songs.
I mean, okay. I didn't like it. Please don't recommend anything like this again.
I mean, you're gonna hate it when I say this is the second. Right now, it's number 2 on my albums of the year, 2019. It is. It's like it goes Morbid Stuff by Pup and then this, and wow, it blows me away every time I listen to it. It's just so good. I don't know. I've never thought that auto-tuned the shit like a fucking bubblegum bass would sound so good, but I don't know. The songwriting's so good is what makes it really good for me. Like, because the sounds are so abrasive to what I'm like, of course, used to hearing. But I think that the way they make these songs, they're good. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah. Moving on to next time's recommendations. Okay, before we get into that, I wanted to just share with our many listeners the text interaction that we had on Saturday night when, of course, Andrew Luck retired, and I texted you and I said, I just realized something. The song "Burden in My Hand" by Soundgarden. The title is a play on the expression, a bird in the hand is worth two in the bush. And I had to tell someone. And then you were like, you tell me this as Andrew Luck retires. You said, I thought I got texted from you, but I didn't expect it to be about this. And I just thought that was an amusing interaction.
I mean, of
And
all the
as I
things,
mentioned, yeah, yeah. Of
really
all the
wasn't
things that
expecting it.
no, it was very I wasn't expecting that revelation. I mean, um but okay, anyway, because of that, my recommendation this week is Down on the Upside by Soundgarden, the album with Burden in My Hand in it.
Down on the Upside.
Mhm.
That's one of their 80s releases, right? Oh, no,
Nope.
it's
96.
96. All right. All right. Soundgarden's fine.
Yeah.
I,
I
I,
like Soundgarden. I mean, I don't like them as much as Nirvana, but or Alice in Chains, but they're still good.
for sure. I've always thought that. I mean, at times, I think they rely too heavily on certain like tropes, and like they're a lot of the time with Soundgarden, their songs tend to bleed into one another. If that
Yeah.
makes sense,
I
like they
understand
really
that.
don't. They have this one way to write a song, and that's about it. They don't really go to anything. Oh wait, this is anyone watching the video will be very confused at what I've just done.
What did you do?
I put both my album twice, and I haven't even mentioned what my album is yet.
Do you remember that time when we were putting all those pictures of uniforms on the screen and you put like the same picture of Darren Sproles next to itself?
Yeah, I was
And like I was talking about it, I'm like, these are the two like Saints uniforms. This is the home and the away, and I like them. And it was just the same picture. That was funny.
oh man. But yeah, on to my album.
Yeah, onto
Enough of
your
my
album.
failures.
It's okay. It was funny. We like it.
All right. My recommendation this time, in style, I'm changing it up again. I want you to look up the album cover right now.
Okay.
Look up Lift to Experience, Texas Jerusalem Crossroads. I will not tell
Okay.
you anything about this record, but you are listening to it.
All right. I am looking at the album cover.
Yes. Yes, you are. Thoughts, opinions?
Huh.
Huh?
The guy on the left like looks familiar to me.
He's not. He's not. He is not.
I he must look like somebody that I know from something. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, this is just gonna be another one of your weird bands. I can just tell. All right.
Yeah, but I think this one I'm guaranteed you're gonna like.
Okay.
Like I just kinda in my head I'm like, there's no way you don't like it. I actually don't know how you wouldn't like it based on what you like.
Okay. Well, I guess good.
Oh man. I'm excited. I hope you enjoy this.
Okay. It's occurring to me we need to come up with like a less anticlimactic way to end our podcasts.
Less anticlimactic.
Right. You like the double negative there. But no, but what I mean is like we always end with like recommendations for next time for music, and it's like, what am I going to say about an album that I haven't heard? Like, you know what I mean? Like it's just like
Fair.
I recommend this album. Okay, bye. Like that's like that's how we end our podcasts, and we need to come up with a better way to do it. Um. Anyway, I did before we finish this up, I did want to say we will probably be recording these more regularly
Yeah, as the
with the
season
season
kicks up,
starting.
there'll be
I,
more to
I would
talk
like to
about.
do one. I would like to do one once a week so we could, recap the games and that
For
stuff.
sure. Yeah.
Um, Ideally, I think we would try to do Tuesdays so that we could recap every game from the previous week. But
Yeah, I think Tuesday is wait.
we'll
I know
we'll figure.
Friday is my freest day, but that doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm just gonna go back to Titan Web real quick.
Okay, we don't have to talk about this on
Yeah,
air either.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
but we will try to work something out. Hopefully, by the time the Lions beat the Chiefs in Week 4, we will have like a format figured out.
Tuesday does
Um,
work really well for me, by the way. I only have one
okay,
class Tuesday, and it's at 3 p.m.
okay. I don't know what my schedule is going to look like going forward, but we'll figure something out. Um,
All right.
so yeah.
Yeah.
So like I said, hopefully by the time of Lions Chiefs, we'll have everything figured out and we'll be able to you know really get rolling with this whole podcast experience. Um, but anyway, yeah, that's all I have. Do you have anything else to say as we conclude here?
No, not at all. I am quite satisfied with this podcast.
Yeah, this has been high quality for sure. Um, so for Paolo Boy, I'm Giovanni Leonardo.
All
See you
right.
guys later.
Bid you adieu.